injury updates from the game. So, as Justin talked to y'all last night, his X-ray was negative. We'll let you know on Wednesday where things are at with him. And then Andy is week to week with his knee. No update there. Let you know on Wednesday where that's at. Khalil, he ended up finishing the game. We'll keep an eye on that. And then Iggy, as you know, did not finish with the hamstring. So really no changes with them from what we talked about yesterday, injury-wise. Big picture, after watching the tape, it's stating the obvious to say that we obviously got to be a heck of a lot better offensively and find ways to get into a rhythm. I feel like as you watch the tape, in really all different areas, not just one person, in a lot of different areas, all of us, just being better, getting into that rhythm, whether it's the protection, whether it's the run game, whether it's staying out of third and longs. We had those 3rd and 22 and 3rd and 14 and a 3rd and 2 in the first half of the 17 plays we had. So got to be better there. I thought the defense did a great job throughout the game with a 10-play drive and a 4th down sack, and then a 9-play drive, 4th down sack, where they really gave us that momentum that we needed on the sideline. And then to continue, to continue that into the 3rd, and really you head into the 4th because of the defense with a game that's a 1-touchdown game to start the 4th. So what we'll do is we will make sure that we evaluate all of us, and understand that we got a big division game against Detroit this week for the 4th week here coming up, and got to focus on that. And so when the guys get back in here, we'll go through it with them, and we'll correct our mistakes, and understand that yesterday is, you get to a point yesterday where statistically when you look at that and you see what went on and what happened, we understand that we're all very frustrated and angry, but it's about solutions now, and we got to do it, and that's going to be my job as the head coach. I need to do that, and it starts with me.
Matt, when it's as bad as it was yesterday, the last 18 hours or so, have they been normal, the way you operate after a game, or are you sitting there considering big picture changes?
Well, I think you all know me. I'm going to always start with myself and understanding how to look at things and where it starts. And obviously, we've had those 2 3rd and 1s. Now you had one in the Rams game, right? And then we had one yesterday, both on the road, where we had some false starts. And those are critical times in the game that we want to make sure that I need to do a better job of making sure that these guys understand how crucial those 3rd and 1s are. So situations like that, they bother me. When you don't have the success we had on offense yesterday with a rookie quarterback, with Justin, that stuff, of course, it keeps you up at night because you want to figure out why. And so we're looking at everything right now, Adam. I mean, looking at everything. I think that's being completely honest with you and real. I care about this situation immensely. Our players care. Our coaches care. So we gotta figure it out, and we gotta figure it out fast.
Matt, just to be clear, you do not know who's starting quarterback on Sunday, or has that been decided yet?
That's what we're working through right now. So I can't definitively say who the starter is. Yes.
Now you say you're looking at everything. Could that be a change into the play callers?
Again, just to keep it super simple, everything's on the table, and I think that's probably the easiest way to put it. The evaluation part, everything.
How will that evaluation work in the next 36 hours or so?
Communication, talking through things, making sure that we are doing everything we can to get that vibe and that juice back that we had in OTAs and in training camp. I really, and the one thing I want to make loud and clear about these players is, these guys, they all care. They all really care. And so, but what we got to do is we got to take that care and we got to do it on the field offensively. We got to produce more points and get more first downs, and we got to coach better.
Man, how do you get an honest evaluation of yourself? Who do you turn to on your staff who can give you an honest assessment of what you're doing wrong, what you should be doing, and sees you maybe a little more objectively than you might see yourself?
Well, I think to answer your question there, Mark, the number one thing is I'll go to more than just one person, and I go to people that I know are going to be honest in all parts of it, not just what they think that I want to hear, because I respect the honesty. And sometimes it's, as you know, it's not always somebody that's in the building. It could be other places too, but for a lot of times, it is those in the building because they're in the trees, they're in the woods with you when you're going through all this. So I always just want to make sure that, like, if you keep it super simple, what is the best thing for the Bears to be successful? I'll always keep it at that and leave it there. And if whatever needs to be done will be done.
So if you're into that evaluation, what have you heard? What are they telling you?
I'm going to keep that private.
Matt, when you look back at the tape and looked at the game plan with Myles Garrett specifically, what gave you confidence during the week about your plan to kind of contain him, and then what didn't work yesterday?
I would say a few things with that, Kevin, is I think they did a good job of moving him around a little bit. You know, they put him on the inside and did some things there. And really, no matter where he's at, whether he's on the edge or whether he's in a 3-tech or a shade, he's going to always be dominant. He's a special player in this league. We knew that. You got to always give respect to those type of players. And so now we want to look into, you know, was it a time that we got beat 1-on-1? Was it a time we got beat 2-on-1? What was the you know, the role of certain players in that specific call? And then we got to make sure that we're doing everything we can to put those guys, our players, in the best situation possible.
Matt, this isn't the first time you talked about, you know, having an evaluation process. There have been several times throughout your coaching career
Yeah.
where the offense has stalled.
Yeah.
How would this process differ from those?
I don't know. We'll see. For me, what I think we realize and understand is that yesterday you can't have that. We understand that. It's common sense. Yesterday was frustrating in a lot of different levels, and I say that you know, not for one particular person or two or three, but it's just across the board. I mean, that was hard, and so anytime that happens, like Adam just asked, how are the 18 hours? It's not fun because of the care that we all have for this and the want that we have to be great. So if you are honest with yourself, you're honest with your players, and sometimes there's tough conversations, right? And I do feel like for me, one of my greatest strengths is being able to be honest with coaches and players. And if I think somebody's not because I can accept it too. Like, they'll tell you, if I think a coach isn't being, you know, it needs to be better, I'll tell them that. If I think that a player needs to be better, I'll tell them that. But then they also know it's reciprocated. Like, they can do that with me too because there's a trust there. So that's kind of where we're at. And then in the end, it's about finding the solutions and not being negative about it, but saying, okay, here we are. We got a big division game coming up here right now at 1 and 2 division games. You got to win at home and you got to win your division games. So we got to rebound, and that's going to be now our challenge for week 4 is to see how do we respond.
Have you sensed frustration from any of your players? Yet Jimmy Graham after the game retweeted something from CBS pointing out that you guys had, you know, averaged 1.1 yards yesterday.
Well, no, I don't. I haven't really talked to all the guys yet in person, but I will. Again, my relationship with a guy like Jimmy, you bring that up about you know, the tweet that he had or whatever that was brought to my attention. Again, I would say the biggest thing to that is you all understand, like, after a game, we all get very emotional. I think that's real. And so what you do is you talk and you figure out, okay, where are we at? And then you try to get better at all that. So I respect these players so much, and these guys care. So that's all.
Matt, was Justin Fields?
This week. If Andy can't go, is Nick under consideration, or is it just Andy and Justin?
No, they're all three under consideration right now, you know, in regards to where they're at. So we'll just have to kind of see, Hub, the next couple days where they're all at. We know where Nick's at health-wise, but we just want to keep an eye on Justin and Andy, and then for us to stay on that and make sure that we have a plan for any of those.
Matt, just to clarify on Justin, if the x-rays were negative, but it still doesn't sound like you know what his status is right now, are there more tests? Is there concern about that injury?
Yeah, we're just working, just trying to make sure that with the negative test results that they have, you know, if you get swelling or anything like that, just to kind of get a feel and feel where that's at, and that's where it gets into the day-by-day stuff, you know, and we'll know more as we go.
If we're looking, people were watching on TV, it looked like Justin didn't have much of a chance yesterday. What did you learn from
Well-
Watching it again, how to grade his performance.
Yeah, there's a combination with these plays that go into it. Sometimes it can be a breakdown in protection. Sometimes it can be the ball's not out on time. Sometimes it can be good coverage by the defense. So, or sometimes it can be a bad play call, right? So there's 4 things that it could be. And when you go through the game, there was probably a combination of all of that at some point in time yesterday. So that's where we're all going to see, for a young quarterback having his first start, there's going to be looks that defensive coordinators present that might be a little bit, they might disguise some things. We knew that going into it. Justin knows that. But now you got to do it real, right, going through it. So some of those, as we go through the tape, you'll see that. There'll be other times where there was nothing he could do. You know, they made a play or we had an error. And that's the coachable part of it. That's the side where you got our coaches upstairs right now going through that, and we'll break it down with them and try to fix it. And then there's other times too where it's a bad play call, and the right play call was not made, and they made a good play on defense with their coverage, and no one's open, you know. And then it's either a coverage sack or whatnot. But all that said, for the sacks that he had, what I was really, you know, probably proud of the most from Justin was the way he handled all of that. Because it's easy to get frustrated and all of a sudden be taken out of the game. Not one time did he ever get frustrated, angry, or upset on the sideline. He's tough, and mentally and physically. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that he's going to learn from that game. And, you know, we talked last night, and I just think it's really good, healthy conversations, and it's about a plan moving forward.
And because your plan ideally had been to have Andy Dalton start, was Justin Fields less ready to start this game than you even thought he would be?
No, I wouldn't say that at all. Again, I love his preparation. I think he had he learned a lot through the week of practice that we had. He got better every day, and again. One of the things that we talked about for him moving through this process that he's going to go through is there are going to be highs and lows. Now that was a low, a really low deal there. So we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to put him in situations to where he's having success. And I think Justin's positivity, Justin's determination to be great, he'll be able to bounce back from something like this because of all the things I've already said.
You said you talked to him on the phone. Or did you talk to him on the phone last night?
Yeah, we had our discussions last night, and it was good, and I know that he's eager to get back in here.
Throughout your tenure as head coach here, how have you come to reconcile or balance the passion of the Bears fan base? Like, on the one hand, they travel the country with you and try to take over road stadiums. On the other hand, they are not shy at all about voicing their displeasure when they see something like they saw yesterday.
So a couple things to that question is, I think that when you're in this situation, when I was lucky enough to get this job as head coach of the Bears, you know all of that, and you love that. The passion that these fans have is real. And so when you know, we play as poorly as we did yesterday offensively, you completely understand it. And also, too, you know, especially with the excitement and the anticipation that's built up with Justin, right? And the future of him and where he's going to go and how well he's going to do here in Chicago. So I get it. I totally get it. I understand it 100%. And really, honestly, like you said, on the other side, like in 2018, when we were rolling and we had that stadium going at Soldier Field in the playoffs and all season long, and then we had our, like, it's unbelievable. And so I get to meet a lot of people here in these 3.5, 4 years I've been here, and I see the authenticity of their passion, and it's special.
Matt, you said there were some things the Browns weren't going to let Justin do when it came to getting him outside the pocket, away from the rush. But why does the defense dictate what you do offensively, especially in that situation? Because that's like his strongest suit.
Sure.
The kid who runs a 4.40, he throws well on the run, he throws well. Why is it easier said than done to just get him out there and stress the defense and put the defense on its heels?
Yeah, no, there's sometimes that you can, whether it's through scheme or whether you have a certain player out there that's playing in a certain way. And they had a few times where they did have the edge, where we weren't able to get the edge a few times. And so there's other times where you got to go to something else, whatever that is. And that's our job as coaches to make sure that we do that. And that's where I think, too, like, as we go through this, we learned too, some of that stuff, with how teams are going to try to attack Justin. And so knowing that now, we got to be able to counter, and that's what we'll do.
Matt,
In a general sense, I hope this isn't a scheme thing, but is it fair to say you might be more aggressive in that regard going forward?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I think right now that we're doing up there up in the office right now that guys are looking at that, we got together early this morning and you start really talking through how things went yesterday, and there's some things that you learn as you go through this, and now when you learn that, what do you do that's different, or what do you do that's the same? And is what you're saying, is that a part of it? Well, yes, it can be, whether it's shots or whether it's scheming up different ways to get the ball downfield, and that's just all. It does get into a little bit of scheme.
Matt, the early 3rd and 2, the toss left.
Yeah.
It looked like even pre-snap you might have been outnumbered to that side. Was something missed? Like, does Justin have some type of option there?
No, he does not. No, he's good there, and we have rules for that look, and they made a good play, but at the same point in time, I do agree. Like, I think that 3rd and 2 situation right there, man, you'd love to be able to get that first down, not go to 4th and 1 or 4th and 2, get that first down and keep that momentum going after that stop. So, again, all things that we're really hammering home right now up there in that office.
Matt, you said since you drafted Justin, that you understood what he meant to the fan base, what the possibilities could be, what that means for the city in general.
Yeah.
Along the lines of what you were saying to Herbert about the fans, what is your message to them as to why you're the best person to get the most out of it?
Yeah, so for number one, we talked about it with Justin heading into the game yesterday. Whether it's a really good game or not a really good game as an offense, not for him. Because I'll kind of go back. Justin, yesterday, there's things that he's learned in that game, right? Whether it's progressions, whether it's footwork, whether it's timing, whether it's situational. There's things that he's learned yesterday that's going to really help him out. That said, he did protect the football, and he did stay mentally strong and physically strong too. He got hit a little bit, and so like the way we look at it as a staff is that we got to take this and grow from it. Statistically, terrible, but for him, getting back to the first part is you could have an unbelievably great game, right? But you can come back the next week and it can be a little bit different. Well, after what we just went through yesterday as an offense, if Justin's able to go and he ends up being the starter, then that's where we got to make sure that from now until the rest of the week, that everything that we learned, both from our side and opponent side, that we give him the best opportunity possible to be successful, and we're learning through that. But without a doubt, we know what Justin is and what he can be, and again, his ability to want to be great. That's what gets you excited, knowing that, and then as far as for me, the being able to develop and coach and teach him, I understand that both sides of that. There could be a really good game. There could be a game that's not so good, and that's where I feel like for me being able to teach him the quarterback position and help him grow at that spot along with our other coaches, it'll end up being great in the long run.